Hey Yoni tribe, welcome to another tribal session. I thought I would give you guys a few tips on how to love yourself better as a woman. Viya Health has so kindly sponsored this video because we really do think it is important for women to start loving themselves intentionally. So I'm going to give you just a few tips on what you can do daily, weekly, monthly, and even yearly to just contribute to your overall health. Thank you very much to Viya Health for sponsoring this video, and let's get into it. Obviously, the things that you can do daily or weekly are quite common. They're things that you should know. They're things that are quite typical, but I'm just going to emphasize some of them because they are quite important, and like I said, they contribute to your overall health. So the first one is water. Water is the source of life. Drinking water will definitely contribute to your overall health because not only does it contribute to your health with regards to your hair, your skin, but it actually hydrates you from the inside out. So even when you are having sex with your partner or alone, whatever the case may be, your body feels nourished and it feels like it is hydrated, which is super important to the success and the comfort of any sexual encounter, and then obviously to living. Another important thing is sleep. A lot of people take for granted the fact that sleep can actually, sleep deprivation rather, can actually contribute to your overall bad health. Another thing that's really important, and if you have checked out any of my other videos, I really talk about how important it is to add movement into your daily lifestyle. Movement doesn't necessarily have to be, actually actively exercising, although that is something that is highly recommended because exercise is really important for your health too. But when I speak of movement, I think of just, maybe taking the stairs as opposed to the lift, walking as opposed to taking an Uber, where you can. Obviously, certain countries like our very own South Africa aren't the safest in certain areas and certain times. This also keeps your blood flow going, and blood circulation is again important for your overall health. Now, I said that obviously adding movement to your daily routine is really important, but be sure to listen to your body. Don't overexert yourself, and the way you can do this is by being attentive and noting certain changes and things that you find of importance when it comes to your body. And then just be kind to yourself. If you're not able to do, for example, 500 skips, showing up is really important. So just getting 10 out of the way every day and increasing slowly, gradually, just being kind to yourself and just not being too harsh with regards to, your limitations or lack thereof. Maintain a good hygiene. Maintain your space. Make sure that your space is not messy. Make sure you have certain spaces designated for certain things. So if you're going to do yoga, this area is particularly for yoga. This area is particularly for watching TV. This is my bed. I'm only going to sleep in here and not try, and this is something I'm very guilty of, working in bed, because you just need to be able to differentiate the different areas and their importance and what those specific areas do for you. So maintain good hygiene and obviously maintain the space that you have and keep it clean and tidy. Another thing that's quite obvious is to eat healthy food. Make sure that you are doing things in a balanced manner. Don't deprive yourself. I, for one, do not deprive myself of food. I absolutely love food, so I think it's important that you maintain that balance, but also ensure that you're adding anything extra that is going to be good for your health. So foods that are nutritious, things that are contributing to your overall gut health, so like yogurt, probiotic. Taking a probiotic daily is extremely important. And then on top of that, make sure that you take your vitamins and supplements. And if you are aware of your body, like I said, you'll be able to determine what you are lacking. So if you're tired and feeling fatigued, or feeling like you just don't have energy, that could mean that you might have an iron deficiency. So monitor those things, get them checked out with your GP, which is also important, which will come at a later stage, and make sure that you're taking the supplements and vitamins that might help that balance if you have a deficiency in any of those areas. Another thing that you should do daily or weekly is to set boundaries. Say no. Things that don't serve you, things that you actually don't want to do. And you know, if you say no and practice saying no from the get-go, it won't be so hard when people are asking you to do things that you feel you might be obliged to do if you don't want to, because you always just end up doing a disservice to yourself whilst the other person's kind of almost draining you. So setting boundaries is really important for your health, and that also falls into practicing safe sex. Make sure that you are practicing safe sex. It is really important, because even if you are in a relationship and you've got a partner who is who's the only person that you're with, even them just ejaculating inside you is something that could potentially lead to a yeast infection, bacterial vaginosis, all of these different things. So practice safe sex. Make sure that you are using condoms at every point that you can, and also use a contraceptive if need be, because that also falls under practicing safe sex. And lastly, which I feel is the most important thing that you should not forget every single day, and I'm just giving you my tips, it might not necessarily work for you, but for me, I think prayer is really important to add into your daily routine. It really just makes you feel like you've got a faith that you can kind of follow, a set of guidelines, or almost just, you know, a way of life that will make you just feel like you are living a better life. So prayer for me is something that I think you should add to your daily routine. Okay, now we are going to go on to what you should be doing monthly. So first I'm going to start with the fact that you are only on your period monthly, or at least if you have a healthy regular cycle, then you are. So make sure that you are checking your tampon and your pad regularly. A lot of people take for granted, depending on how heavy they are, whether they should regularly change it, and it's recommended that you change it every 3 to 4 hours depending on how heavy you are, but some people go a little bit longer, and this can cause infection. You are either using a pad or inserting a foreign object into your body, so it's important that this is regularly changed, regularly cleaned. If you're using a cup, for example, you shouldn't keep that in there for a long period of time, because you can get an infection. So make sure that you're checking your pad, your tampon, whatever sanitary product that you're using, and make sure that you're changing them regularly. Doing a dental exam. This should be done monthly depending on how bad your teeth are, but I would also recommend maybe like every 3 to 6 months, just going for checkups, going for regular cleaning, because as much as you brush your teeth daily, there's a lot of, like, you know, just hidden nooks and crannies that you might not be able to get to, that a dentist will be able to help you with. A skin exam is something you could do it daily, but I think, you know, just being intentional and doing it monthly is really important, because you need to check for irregularities, you need to check for things like moles, rashes. All of these can be signs of maybe bigger problems, issues that you might occur. So it's important that you ensure that you are checking your skin regularly, and that goes for everywhere on your body. For ladies, it's especially important that you're also not only doing skin examinations at home, but also doing breast examinations at home. But overall, it's just to be checking for lumps, and this is something you can do monthly. Be sure to do it as much as possible, because the changes when it comes to your breasts are quite quick, and sometimes you can miss it, but it's also something that can be very easy to prevent if you check regularly. Another thing that's important is to set goals for yourself. Set goals for yourself every month. I think a lot of the times we just overcrowd our minds with all the different things that we have to do, that we're attempting to try and do, and it just feels overwhelming because it just seems like a lot. But if you break it down into monthly tasks and then obviously daily tasks, it'll just feel like you're achieving something a little bit more faster, or a little bit easier, because you're taking smaller steps. A way that you can kind of monitor this or regulate this is by getting a coach. I would help you with that, or seeing a therapist or a psychologist, because there's a lot of blind spots that we miss in our psyche that contribute to our overall health. Obviously, a lady needs to treat herself, she needs to feel good, and the way in which you treat yourself won't always look the same from woman to woman. So find out what that is for you. For me, it's not really holding back if there's something I want to buy, and maybe I do that a bit too much, but I think that it's important to note that every month you've gotten yourself something nice that you can kind of be proud of. So treating yourself is really important, and for me also, treating myself is my maintenance. I know that my nails and hair and getting a wax and all of that isn't a necessity, but it is a nice to have, so it's something that I add to my monthly requirements, and it really does make me feel good. When I look good, I feel good. So I think it's really important that for my health personally, so I would recommend doing that too. And then last but not least, which isn't always easy but is definitely fulfilling, I would recommend doing something like volunteering or maybe donating to charity once a month. This will really make you feel fulfilled. It really is nice to just be able to give back. There are always people who are less fortunate than yourself. Now we're going to get on to yearly. Getting checkups and yearly checkups to kind of prevent things better than trying to cure them is always the best option. The first test that I recommend for women is going for a pap smear. Now, this is recommended for women from the ages of 21 to 65 years old, and I would recommend doing this yearly. Depending on your health, some doctors and gynecologists recommend doing it every 2 years, but I would just say just get it out of the way once a year, because it really just helps to prevent a lot of things: ovarian cancer, cervical cancer, just, it helps to detect any potential big health problems that you might have. So it's really important to get this pap smear done once a year. As I said, you should be checking your breasts daily, almost monthly, to kind of just see if there are any lumps. But if not, I do recommend also going for a mammogram. Again, this can prevent things like, or early detection of breast cancer or any other diseases that might come as a result. Another test that's really important is HPV. An HPV test or an HPV scan can be done from the ages of 25 to 65 years yearly. This again will also, like the pap smear, will help you to prevent you from, not prevent you, but early detection from any major diseases like cervical cancer, ovarian cancer. There's also an HPV vaccine which can be taken before, I think, the age of 21. I'll get the proper details and provide that for you. But if I'm not mistaken, there has been an article that was just recently released where they have now said that up until the age of 35 you can go and get an HPV vaccine. So it's really important and it really does work. So I would recommend that you get the HPV scan as well as the vaccine depending on your age. It is recommended that every 4 to 6 years, as of the age of 20, you get your cholesterol checked, and this is something that can be done by a nurse or a general practitioner. It's not like you don't need someone who's specialized to be able to test that for you. Another thing that people also take for granted, especially women, is your blood pressure. Getting your blood pressure tested every 2 years after the age of 20, that's something that you should check. So diabetes is quite high in women, especially in South Africa. Did you know that diabetes is a higher killer than HIV/AIDS? And yes, it is in South Africa. So I would get your glucose levels checked for diabetes every 2 to 3 years from the age of when you're able to even speak, because diabetes is not age specific. You can actually, it's also something that can be passed on. It's hereditary. So this is something that you should regularly be checking. Getting a glaucoma test done every year, once a year, is extremely important because we use our eyes so often, and it's also a very sensitive area, so it's very susceptible to not necessarily picking up diseases, but kind of almost diminishing in sight. So it's important to get your glaucoma checked once a year. And another thing that's important to get checked consistently is your BMI. Just, when you go to the gym, or if you are not gymming, you can look small and still be unhealthy, and the inverse too. You could be much larger and be healthier, but it's important to be able to see that your weight, your height, and your age are kind of all in the right age group. Obviously, the younger you are BMI wise, the healthier you are, but it doesn't mean that you're unhealthy if you're the correct age. So just get that checked out, and it's simple. It's something that's easily done. It's something you can get done even at the gym. Okay, this one is for the ladies that are a little bit older. It's an osteoporosis scan, osteoporosis test. This is only really done from the age of 65, but it is recommended that you do it yearly from the age of 65. Really, really important to ensure that your bone density is of optimum level, because you need your bones to walk, to move, to actually do anything. So very important. And then last but not least, is to get an HIV test yearly, preferably from the age of being sexually active. So the moment you start having sex, it's important to get yourself tested for HIV and STDs, if we're being quite honest, because you actually never know in this day and age. But very important to get this checked out yearly. There are different tests that can be done at different institutions. It's just a matter of Googling. But with Viya Health, you can actually just get all the information you need depending on what it is that you are trying to look for. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. If you have any more recommendations that you can add into your daily, monthly, or even yearly routines, just to ensure that you are loving yourself better, because health is wealth. And yeah, I think that you can add that onto the comment section. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you Viya Health for creating platforms like this that kind of just give women the empowerment and the information and access to information that they need to ensure that they are living a healthy lifestyle. I'll see you guys in the next video.